Alright, welcome to part 2 of the Finding the Lighthouse Diamond Thief Lab. You should have this page already completely filled in really well, so you can do a good job here. And for here it says, now get the unknown powder for your group from your teacher. But since that's me, I guess I'll just get it for myself. There's the mystery powder. Oh. You look at the powder and make a visual determination about what it is based on just observation, right? So just looking at it, can we figure out what it is? No touching, tasting, or wafting allowed this time, guys. So, ooh, we'll just stop there. We'll just stop with a little bit. Little bit. All right. Oh, what's that weird line? Oh, it's my finger. Sorry. Zooming in. Sort of. The phone doesn't really like it. Sorry, phone. You can see that it does look like a fine powder. You can sort of see the little individual pieces, but not super well. Without, does just look white. Did you see my face? That's my hair. Ooh, focus. Phone's like, nope. Right, so we can still see it. So just based on looking with the magnifying glass, can we figure out what it is? So that is probably the best that we are going to get. So just based on that, if you want to look at what the other powders look like, watch the previous video and see if you can figure out what it is up there. So I'm not going to write anything for here because it says, what do you think the mystery powder is? So you, not me. So I can't write anything down because that would be my thinks and not what you thinks. So you need to write what you think it is and why. And I look forward to reading your answers. Now, I messed up on an earlier one, so I'm going to cover that up. Now we're going to do the same test as yesterday. We can use the same process for each station and write those down. So I got a little bit more now, and you can see that it sort of sticks to the skin, but not very well. It is soft. So what I wrote down was, it's a very fine powder, but it doesn't stick to the finger very much. Now for the vinegar and iodine test. I'm going to make two mountains just so we can see them side by side, because why not? I think it might look cool. And then we can talk about both of them at the same time, right? So we have like little flat parts just in case it beads. Not mountains, but like a plateau. I think that's the right word. All right, so here's the vinegar test. Oh. Ooh, did you see those bubbles? But did you see it bead before? Oh, hang on. I ran right into it, so this is a high point. Let's make it a little bit longer. So at first, it was a bead, and then it started to bubble. See the bead? Now it's bubbling, right? So, super cool. What I wrote is that it beaded at first and then it formed bubbles. So we had a chemical reaction. It formed bubbles. I was feeling the bottom, but I don't think it reacted all the way down. All right, here's the iodine. So you can see that it's also beading. It looks like it turned black. Oops, missed. There we go. So, well, I guess it's a good comparative. Here's the original color of the iodine, and here it is with that. It looks like an eyes. Looks like eyes. Hello. Do you see me? Alright, so I'm putting it kind of on a white surface so that we can see. Oh, look, I spilled some iodine. It's on the bottom. It looks black on the camera, but if you also look, I mean, if you were here, you would see that it's, oh, that is like super cool. It's like a little ball. Oh, I got it on my finger. Sprinkle some on top. Oh, it's stuck to my thumb. I think I'm going to have a colored thumb tomorrow in school. And finger. What do you think? Yep, sure am. But I guess we can see the color better now. So it's kind of a black color, but also kind of, not. Let's think. So here's a couple more. You can't really tell on the video, but this one is a darker color than these three, but not by a whole lot. This one's looking more black, while these three that I just put on are kind of, oh, I'm sorry. They're kind of like a really dark brown red, like a mahogany color, if anybody knows what that is. So I think, let me think about what I'm going to write. Alright, so what I wrote was that it beaded, and they're still beaded, except for the one that I, played around with. There was a color change. It was really dark, forgot the D for red. Red. You guys that are my students know that I forget the last letter of words. Red/orange, and then it went to black. We're going to leave it there just to see if anything else happens, but let's go to the heat test. Putting some on the aluminum foil. We will watch it and see what happens. Alright, we can see that we're getting a color change. I'm sniffing right now. Oh, we can see some steam. Oh, it's turning black. Alright, so I can smell the burnt, but before burnt smell started coming in from, that specific region and now everywhere else, it did kind of smell like toast. But I'm going to take that off because it smells really bad now. And that reaction happened fairly quickly. Look at that. That was fast. Can you hear the foil cooling down on the table? Alright. Okay, so I said we had a color change. It was brown and then, it turned black when it started to burn. And that's when we had our burnt odor. But before it kind of smelled a little good. I do want you to see this again. So it looks like it's kind of soaking in. This one is absorbing in. And these ones, you can't really see it in the video, but they're kind of wrinkly looking. And it looks like it's a solid. It is kind of gooey, so I'm not going to touch the other ones. Okay, so now that we've done all 4 tests, you should be able to take these answers and compare them with the data sheet here and figure out which powder or combinations of powders do you think is the mystery powder. Okay, and I want you to do that on your own. We're not going to give all the answers away here. That would just be, silly. And then here's where you need to say why. What evidence from here led you to the conclusion that you made there? So I am going to read you the suspects lists and profiles, but I'm not going to read you the conclusion unless you come to me with all the rest of this filled in, including that. So until you get all that filled in, no conclusion for you. But one of our suspects is a guy called Mr. Sub-Zero, and he may look good, but I remember from Batman that Sub-Zero was a bad guy. Maybe this is where he started out. So Sub, or Mr. Zero, as we like to call him around here, has been coming in to the store to buy his supply of diamonds for the past few years. Few people know that diamonds are the source of his powers. He goes through quite a few diamonds each month. Some months are slower for him and he doesn't need so many diamonds. But lately there's been talk that he's gearing up for a big fight and needs something special like the Lighthouse diamond to give him some super powers. Oh, the color just changed in the room. Well, he too has been eyeing the Lighthouse diamond. Something else that few people know is that Sub-Zero is deathly afraid of salt. You know how they salt the roads that have ice on them to help make the ice? Well, he's afraid someone will salt him. He also won't go near baking soda or cornstarch. And then we have Mr. Pedro Sanchez. Sorry, here's my finger. My bad. Mr. Sanchez is a loyal customer of the You Gotta Have It jewelry store. He comes once a week to look over the newest selection of diamonds and other jewels. His favorites have always been diamonds. He loves the way that they sparkle and shine. He's been acting so strange lately. The store workers have even found him talking to the Lighthouse diamond when he thought no one was watching or listening. They say he was even telling the stone that, "You will soon be mine." He is a very clean person, as you can tell by the way he dresses. Yeah, that's snazzy. He is careful about his cleanliness, probably due to his allergies to many things. Cats, dust, salt, plaster of Paris, any kind of flowers. Especially roses. And sugar. And then we have Miss Susie B. Sugar. Don't let the name fool you. She might not be so sweet. Susie is still in school, but she comes to the store every once in a while to fantasize about what her boyfriend will buy her. The problem is that her boyfriend is very cheap, and the only thing he has bought her is a bag of popcorn at the movies. Oh, he's probably in middle school. She has been looking over the Lighthouse diamond every day after school for 2 weeks. She would run to the counter where the diamond was kept and swoon over it. In the past few days, she's been acting odd. Instead of her usual happy self talking a mile a minute, Susie has been very nervous and untalkative. Susie loves sweets and junk foods. She was always coming into the store with a wad of gum or some kind of candy in her mouth. When Susie was a small child, she did have a very bad reaction to baking soda. It almost killed her. Her mother has learned to never have baking soda in the house. Susie will turn bright red and blow up just like a balloon just by touching the stuff. All right. So, Susie. Mr. Norman P. Grump. Just because his name is Grump doesn't mean he's a thief. Or does it? Mr. Grump used to work at the You Gotta Have It jewelry store 5 years ago. He was very ambitious and could talk anyone into buying something just by smiling and flashing his baby blue eyes. He was a very handsome young man at the time, and now look at him. I was going to say, time has not been well to you, Norman. It was all because he was fired from his job at the store. One day he was helping an older customer by the name of Betty Crock. Betty Crocker? No, just Betty Crock. And Betty liked being helped by Norman. In fact, Betty loved Norman. She brought him some of her famous cornstarch and flour cookies. Norman must never be near cornstarch or white flour. Norman would do anything if he could get someone to buy something. So he took one bite and started choking and bumping into everything. He knocked things over and broke a lot of display cases as he stumbled around trying to catch his breath. Well, they fired him on the spot, and he swore that he would someday get his revenge. On the night of the diamond's disappearance, Norman was seen behind the store. So who was it? Norman P. Grump? Susie B. Sugar? Mr. Pedro Sanchez? Or Mr. Sub-Zero? Oops. If you can figure that out and have this filled in, the conclusion and solution that are over there are yours to read. Good luck and Godspeed.